Hello again, my lovelies! Pirates Come Gaming here, and today I am bringing you my take on a cannon scatter volley build. Now, I ran a poll on my Twitter account asking you fine people what you'd like to see me build next, and you overwhelmingly chose scatter volley. So here it is. I am using the D4x pilot bird of prey from the Kelvin timeline. This is an extremely fast, extremely maneuverable, and extremely powerful little ship. And I do mean this thing is little. But then, you know what? As they always say, it's not the size, it's how you use it. Am I right? A good friend of the channel, Master Dude, was very nice to gift me this fine ship. Thank you, Master Dude. And honestly, folks, I've never been comfortable with cannons. To me, they've always underperformed whenever I've tried it. But you know what? I'm never one to look down a challenge. So I gathered up my gumption, got me bottle of rum out, and went to work. And you know what? I put together a hell of a build. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Alright, as you can see, I am running a full cannon build. There's no torpedoes or anything else. It's just pure cannons. Because I wanted to see what I can do, and I also wanted to push past my comfort zone. First up, I have the Terran Task Force Disruptor Dual Heavy Cannon from your Terran reputation. The reason you're using this one is because of its extra 200% damage at targets 25% at hull or lower. These hit very hard and are one of the top sources of DPS on your Parse. Next up, I have 3 of the Spiral Wave Disruptor Cannon, Dual Heavy Cannons. These are the most powerful disruptor cannons in the game at the moment. That is why they are on here. I wanted to give you the best of the best. And last but not least, just for a little added flavor, a standard Disruptor Dual Heavy Cannon. Alright, Space Core has not changed. We are still using the Elite Fleet Intervention Protomatter Deflector from your colony holding. This is a relatively inexpensive deflector, but it is just so good. I highly recommend it for all your builds. The reason we're using this is because of the Coal Crit mod, which gives you 15% crit severity based on hull percentage, as well as 4% crit chance based on hull percentage. Impulse engine's not changed. It's still the prevailing innervated impulse engine. This works off of tactical firing modes. It gives you a hell of a flight speed boost, a hell of a turn rate boost. And it also increased recharge speed on tactical bridge officer abilities, and that's very important for this ship. Next up is the Elite Fleet Plasma Integrated Warp Core from your Spire holding. This is an all-around great warp core for energy weapon builds because of the plus 66% power transfer rate, as well as minus 10% weapon power cost. Next is the Tilly's Review Pending Modified Shield from your Discovery reputation. We are using this because of the proc here, where your weapon attacks cause enemy shields to receive 11.5% increased damage based on your shield power for 10 seconds. Now, I keep my shields all pretty much bottomed out because, you know, honestly, folks, shields don't mean much in this game. When you got enemies like the Borg or even the Herodian, for that matter, where they can just, you know, make your shields go poof in 10 seconds flat, not even that, you know, what's the point? They're just there for a little extra buff. Is there a little extra padding before they hit your hull? So, like I said, the main reason you use this is because of that proc. After weapon, I'm using the Heavy Biomolecular Disruptor Turret from the Counter Command reputation. Now, the reason you're using this is because it is a heavy turret, and it does a lot more damage than your standard turret. Experimental weapon is the Soliton Wave Impeller. This is still the best experimental weapon in the game, and I'll be using it unless they come up with something different. Which the odds of that happening is probably slim to none. But, you know, never count it out. This comes off of the Ryzian Corvette. Devices, pretty standard. Energy weapon energy amplifier. This comes from your beam R&D. Reactive armor catalyst. This is a mission drop from Broken Circle. And deuterium surplus. This is a mission reward from the Alhena System Patrol. And then once you unlock it, you can make as many of these as you want in your engineering R&D. I've talked about this a million times before. Basically, go into your available tab, look up the Spectre's Arc, run the mission skirmish. Shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes. After that, head due south of Drozana. You'll find the Alhena System Patrol. You'll go in there and defend it from some marauding Cardassians. After that, you pick up about 5 of these from the little tank holdings that are there. And then afterwards, this gets put into your engineering R&D, and you can make as many of these as you want. Universal Console, the ultimate modified swarm processor. This is different from my standard Universal Console of choice, the Lorca's Custom Fire Controls. I'm using this because of the 3.9% crit chance. I mean, this thing launches a little ultimate drone. You can see it over there under the under the little ops button. He does nothing. It's an annoyance. He's just there. I might as well call that thing the mother-in-law suite. Yeah, you stick your mother-in-law in that thing and let the enemy shoot at her. Next up, Bioneural Fusion Circuits. This is one of the oldest Lobby Store consoles. Still good for just about anything you can imagine. Nice chunk of Starship hull capacity, which feeds into something else we'll discuss later. Starship control expertise. I am running some controls on this, so that does help. And then a good chunk of crit severity, 26.2%. Next up, the M6 tactical computer from the T3 Temporal Escort. This will cost you dilithium, and you get it from your ship vendor. 15% bonus all damage, 25% cooldown reduction for tactical bridge officer abilities, 25% firing cycle haste for all weapons, a little bit of accuracy and a little bit of defense. Next up is the DPRM. This comes off of the Atlas Prototype Dreadnought. Now the reason we're using this is because this ship is incredibly squishy. As you can see, not a lot of hull on this ship. So this is the ultimate oh shit button. You start taking a lot of damage, you click this, and you can out-heal just about anything. Also, the passives are alright, some damage resistance rating, and some 19% directed energy damage. But also, along with that healing, you get 40% bonus damage, well above 80% hull, plus 100 bonus damage resistance rating. And like I said, that hull regen can't be beat. This will out-heal just about anything that can be thrown at you. Next is the Temporal Trajectory Shifter. This comes off of the Narendra or the Voral support cruisers. The reason we're using this is not because of the passives. The passives are kind of meh. It's the active. For enemies, weapon firing speed is slowed by 33.3%. Ability cooldowns are slowed by 1%. And it gives a minus 50 defense rating. Now to you, it gives you weapon firing speed hasted by 50%. That's huge. Ability cooldowns hastened by 20%. That's also very, very nice. And it gives you some bonus defense rating. Now, you want to save this for big targets. Because the longer this is up, the longer you benefit from this. And if you use it on small targets, it's wasted. Putting this on big targets allows this to stay up and get the max benefit. So basically, you're gonna want to hit the Gateway or Tac Cube, a Dreadnought, something with a lot of hit points. Next up is the Immolating Phaser Lance. This comes off of the Deimos Pilot Escort. This thing just hits like a runaway freight train. It's just massive amount of damage. This scores pretty high on the Parse as well. And the nice thing about this, you get 6 charges on this, and this helps keep universal designs up pretty much the whole run. So yeah, this is excellent to use. I highly recommend it. You get it. And if you're finishing up your event campaign and you're wondering what to get and you don't have this ship yet, by all means, get that ship. Get the Deimos Pilot Escort. You will not be sorry. Next, Universal Console Domino. This comes from the Bajoran Interceptor, available in the Phoenix store. Now, its passives are alright. I'm not running a lot. The only thing I'm running phaser on this is the Emulating Phaser Lance. But it's the active that we want to use it for. 25% firing cycle haste for energy weapons, 25% bonus all damage, 25% recharge speed for bridge officer abilities, and plus 100% recharge speed for torpedo weapons. Now, the torpedo weapons don't apply in this particular instance, but it's those first three that do. And for tactical consoles, we are using one vulnerability exploiter because honestly, I have another locator, but I can't find it, or else I would be using it. These are all from your Spire holding. Alright, let's take a look at skills and specializations, shall we? Alright, as you can see, my skill tree is the same one I've been using all along. So if you haven't taken a screenshot of this and you want to use it, now's the time to do so before we move on. Alright, specialization. Still using Intel for the flanking, and Temporal Operative for the cooldowns, as well as Entropic Rider. Okay, let's talk about some traits. I've changed my traits up quite a bit here. First up, you're using Self-Modulating Fire for Shield Pen, and you know how that song and dance goes. The quicker you cut through the shields, the quicker you're hitting the hull, and the quicker you're killing them. Next up, Context is for Kings. If you did take damage in the past second, plus 3 all damage resistance rating, and if you did not take damage, plus 1% bonus all damage for 10 seconds. Boimler, this is our primary means of cooldown. This is from the Lobby store or the exchange. Now, the thing about Boimler is that sometimes he likes to slack off and start daydreaming about things. So I have a couple of duty officers that stand behind him, and when they see him start to slack off, they pop him in the back of the head and tell him to pay attention. Next, Duelist Fervor. Whenever you or a teammate kills something, plus 5% all damage for 10 seconds, and plus 5 accuracy rating for 10 seconds. The accuracy I'm not so much worried about, it's more about the damage. Next, Unconventional Systems, also known as Free DPS. Using a Controlled Bridge Officer ability gives you minus 7% recharge speed for Universal Consoles, and I am running several of those. Next, Terran Targeting Systems, plus 15% crit severity. Not much to talk about there. Superior Cannon Training. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I'm running cannons. Intelligent Agent Attaché on weapon critical strikes, and you will crit. You will crit like you've never crit before. Restore 2% of Captain Ability Recharge. Fleet Coordinator. 2% bonus all damage per team member. On a team of 5, you get 10%. And last but not least, we have Inspirational Leader. 10% chance activating any bridge officer ability grants plus 10 to most Starship skills for 15 seconds. Stacks up to 3 times. Starship traits. We are using Emergency Weapon Cycle. This procs off emergency powered weapons. This comes from the Kurak, the Morgu, and the Arbiter. Minus 50% weapon power cost for 30 seconds and 20% firing cycle haste. Next, Calm Before the Storm. This comes off of the Cardassian Intel Flight Deck Cruiser. Gain 1 stack of Calm every 2 seconds. Each stack of Calm gives plus 5 all damage resistance rating. At 10 stacks, gain Storm for 20 seconds. Removes all stack of Calm, and it gives a large firing cycle haste, 33%. Next, Withering Barrage. This is Cannon Scatter Volley extension trait. They've given this away multiple times already, so you should have a copy of this somewhere. Universal Designs. This comes from the Crossfield Refit. When activating a Universal Console, lasts for 20 seconds, stacks up to 5 times, 2% crit chance, 10% crit severity. This is new. I haven't run this much. Legacy of Kronos. I believe this comes off of the temporal warships. I have the Jem'Hadar temporal warship, and that's where I got this from. Attack pattern beta or any temporal operative BOFF ability. 10% firing cycle haste for energy weapons, and 5% bonus disruptor damage. Lucky me, I'm running both beta and temporal bridge officer abilities. And weapon emitter overdrive. This comes off of the Vodwar Juggernaut. When using a beam or cannon bridge officer ability for 20 seconds, increase weapon power drained by weapons by 50%. But since I'm an engineer, I know I have plenty of power management to negate that. Plus 10% crit chance to directed energy weapons and some accuracy. So this really works well if you're an engineer, because engineers, if they do one thing well, it's power management. Personal space traits, I have Tyler's Duality. Crit chance based on hull capacity. Now I'm not going to be getting much from this, but every little bit counts. Usually I can get about 5 or 6%. In this case, I'm getting only 3.7. But like I said, every little bit helps. Advanced Starting Systems. That's from the Discovery reputation, by the way. Advanced Starting Systems. This comes from the Dyson rep. 20% crit severity. Controlled Countermeasures. 9.4% bonus energy weapon and projectile damage on controlled targets. If you have a controller on your team, this really pays off. Precision. 5% crit chance. And last but not least, magnified firepower from the Gamma reputation. This is New Romulus, mind you, and this is temporal. From the Gamma reputation, magnified firepower, 6.3% bonus weapon damage. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the bridge officer stations. Up here in the Commander Tactical, I have McCath, who is my tactical SRO. We have Chemosite Less Weaponry, because who doesn't love radiation explosions? Focused Assault. For the next 20 seconds, allies attacking the target gain 10% bonus damage, 10 accuracy rating, and reduces the time of this copy of Focused Assault by 50% if target dies while active. Next, Attack Pattern Beta for the damage resistance reduction. And Cannon Scholar Volley 3, the main event. Right here in my Lieutenant Commander Universal slot, I have Natak, who is my engineering SRO. Emergency powered engines. And this thing turns fast, but it always helps to get just a little bit more. Emit Unstable Warp Bubble. This is an Uncon proc. This also comes from Broken Circle. And Emergency Powered Weapons 3. This procs Emergency Weapon Cycle. In the Lieutenant Universal, I'm using this as a science seat, so this is my Science Vanguard Jem'Hadar. Durakusan. We are using jam targeting sensors and scramble sensors. Both of these are Uncon procs. Next, in my Lieutenant Universal Temporal seat is a Reticlon. My Vanguard Jem'Hadar Engineer. We're using Heisenberg Amplifier and Chronometric Inversion Field, and guess what? They're Uncon procs. And finally, in the Ensign Universal, I have Devel, who is my other tactical SRO. Distributed targeting to help get around the damage. Okay, let's take a look at duty officers. First up, I have 2447. I don't have any Miracle Worker abilities, so this really doesn't work for this, but this does. On use of tactical abilities, 15% chance set weapon power. My tongue stops working. 15% chance set power levels to maximum for 5 seconds. This procs quite a bit. Next is Teoris, my energy weapon officer. Chance for stacking crit chance, buff on firing energy weapons. Next is the emergency con hologram, recharge evasive maneuvers when emergency powered engines is used. I have K's. Another one of my engine that tongue stops working again. Good lord. Energy weapon officer, chance for stacking crit chance on using energy weapons. Here are my Boimler backups. 46 of 47. On use of science abilities, 15% chance to reduce temporal op bridge officer ability cooldowns by 50%, and vice versa for temporal operative. And 41 of 47 on use of tactical bridge officer abilities, 15% chance to reduce temporal operative, and vice versa for temporal operative. Like I said, Boimler likes to daydream. Sometimes he doesn't pay attention and do his job. These two are standing behind Boimler, and when he starts to slack off, they just pop him in the back of the head and tell him to pay attention. Alright, so let's do a quick visual review of this fine ship. Ain't she purty? Purty and lethal. I love this ship. And it is just absolutely stupid maneuverable and stupid fast. Alright, so that being said, let's go ahead and jump to that ISE with follow-up Parse explanation. Then afterwards, I am going to be showing you a patrol that I did, just to show that this can hang in patrols just as well as it can hang in ISEs. So let's go ahead and jump into that, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Welcome back from that fine ISE, my lovelies. That was a very good run, a very competitive run, as you can see. I am, of course, at James Bryce, and I did 487 DPS, 487k DPS. Way higher than I anticipated. I was very pleased with this outcome. And it was pretty much a dead heat between me and my good friend Input here, who was also along for the run. Well done, Input. Also along for the run was another good friend, Lord Ice. Well done, my friend. Tanking this particular round was my friend at Mikey213, also known as Mad Dog Mikey. Go check him out. Give him a sub on Twitch. Also, give him a sub on YouTube. Smash that subscribe button like it owes you money. Ring that bell with the biggest hammer you can find. That way you know when Mikey drops more of his awesome content. And also make sure you give him, like I said, give him a follow on Twitter. That way you know when Mikey goes live and he's streaming. And when you go there, tell him Pirate Scum Gaming sent you. He was our tank for the run. Very nice job, Mikey. He had 78% damage in and 74% total attacks in. Nice job. As you see, I was pulling quite a bit of threat myself. That's not to be expected. I was hitting a lot of things with my cannon scatter volley. And last but not least, we have Alistair. Alistair is just come back to the game and wanted to test his luck in an ISE, see what his build could do. He pulled 20. He may have only pulled 27.9k, but you know what? We've all been there. And don't worry, Alistair, you will get there eventually. It just takes time getting your feet back on the ground and getting back into the swing of things. Don't give up. We will get you there. You are always welcome on my team. So, alright, let's go ahead and take a look at my individual combat analysis. Okay, max one hit. Surprising, came from the Immolating Phaser Lance. 255k. Next highest source of damage, Terran Task Force Disruptor dual heavy cannons. Coming at 202.6. Like I said, this is one of the top parsing weapons on your build. Spiral Wave did fairly good for themselves, as did the standard disruptor cannons. Soliton Wave Impeller did very well. Heavy Biomolecular Disruptor Turret did quite well for itself. Chemosite-laced weaponry came in pretty nice. So yeah, this is a super effective build. It does the job, it gets the job done. And in the long run, it's fun. And you know, that's the name of the game, guys. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. As long as you're having fun doing with what you're doing, then you're doing it right. You know what I mean? I like this ship. This is a fun ship to fly around in. I plan on using this ship a hell of a lot more just to do some dailies, as well as patrols, maybe some random TFOs. I don't know. I haven't really made up my mind. But I will be using it. So in the long run, this build works, and it works quite well. Overall, I loved it. I love this ship. I'm glad I got my hands on it. Thank you, Master Dude. It's just all around impressive. And you guys know me. I'm not one to fly zippy little ships. I like my big cruisers. I've always liked them. But you know, flying ships like this is really going to get me liking flying escorts and raiders. I'm going to do more of that in the future. Well, that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at that patrol I ran. And above all, remember, just have fun. And like we always say around here, don't go by the book, think like a pirate. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
human. Play, Damjat, human.